like I said, this has been it's been a tough week. An insanely annoying week in a lot of ways. Well, I'm going to try it one last time, Kieran, then I'm just going to surrender and concede defeat to the gods of the internet. Yeah. Well, it locked up on me and just spinning wheel of death, and it happens to you guys before I catch it. I'm here babbling, and I don't know when it stopped. I was showing you the cars and talking about the prices and choices, and all of a sudden realized that the stream hadn't moved on my phone. No, I appreciate you guys coming back. I'm at a massive frustration level. It's just a lot of little annoying things happening today, or the last week or so. Some involving family members that are having health problems, and my health problems, and all sorts of little bits people really don't care to hear or need to hear. But also just so many things I keep ordering from Amazon and they're getting lost, and I've never had that problem. And just so many things lost or delayed. Like I had stuff that was supposed to come in this morning. Oh, now it's delayed till Monday. You know, and this is on Amazon. It's not even on the delivery people. Hi, Leslie. This is my third attempt. And in American baseball, we say 3 strikes and you're out. So if this one blows up, then I'm just quitting and it's blowing up again. Or at least it was spinning. Hey, just let me know if you guys can hear me. You're going to have to keep updating me or telling me how much. But yeah, my screen keeps freezing here. It's getting very choppy and the playback is looking ridiculous again. I assume that everything is looking very choppy to you guys. Is anybody hearing me? And we're doing the Dalek again. Oh my god. Eliminate one problem. Because the only thing I can follow on is 15 seconds behind. And I keep getting YouTube warnings saying they're not getting enough info, but my internet says it's strong, so I don't know what is going on. My internet says it's got a strong signal, but something's not connecting with YouTube. Okay, I'm getting a message saying encoding is overloaded. All right, let's do this. Let's see if that helped. Don't mind the black screen. I just went to a screen and deleted stuff. It's saying it's having saying it's having hassles. Maybe I've just got too much on this stream now. All right, guys. Give it a minute and see if suddenly it stables out, because I finally got rid of a couple of things and it says it's better. Hi, Richard. Yeah, what I was trying to upload a couple of really cool things through OBS. And so let me know if right now you should be seeing my 5 camera view with the 2 castle pictures in the middle. And is motion looking good? Like you can see my hands waving. I tried to put too much on my OBS. It just popped up a message saying I had too much stuff for it to encode, because I had all kinds of videos and stuff I wanted to show you, and I guess I should have done a test run, but I guess I'll do it the old-fashioned way. But I just deleted 3 scenes from my OBS that were all video, and all of a sudden the warning disappeared, and you guys are saying everything's looking good now. So, kind of stings because I had a lot of stuff I wanted to share with you from Miniature Wonderland. I really wanted to talk about Miniature Wonderland. Yes, Train Freak, I do have a light flickering. That is a big LED bank light I installed a couple of years ago, and about 7 months ago, it started blinking, and well, I have to take part of my layout apart to get up there to change the light, so I've just been tolerating the blinking. But I'll tell you what, I can still talk about Miniature Wonderland, but I guess we'll get some trains running, and yeah, we still got 13 people have stuck it out, but sounds like everything's better now, because yeah, it was just trying to process too much. My OBS was trying to, I had a ton of videos set up as windows, you know, sort of like this, but instead of live stream cams, it was actual videos uploaded, and it started telling me, wait, you have way too much stuff on this. You have to change encoding format, which I don't want to do now. But it's just the way my last few days have been going. It's been crazy. Just all kinds. But tell you what, let's get some trains running. I changed out just one train. I got my ICE2 parked because I was supposed to be working on it this week, and instead the parts that I wanted for it to work on it did not arrive. So grumble, grumble, grumble. So we'll get this guy in motion. And we will get this guy in motion. Yeah, that sounds so slow because they're not supposed to be that slow, but just keeps the noise down. All right, let's see who else we can get rolling now. Come on. There he goes. Had to wake him up again. Silly bugger. Alright, has anybody else come in that I hadn't said hello to yet? Just fighting the gremlins today and yesterday. That was the thing I was talking about in my first attempt at live feed. I tried to go live Wednesday and yesterday, and every time I tried to go live, somebody else went on. And let's get one freight train rolling. And let's get one diesel rolling. Hey, Diesel, he's going the wrong way. All right, I think that's everybody in motion. Yeah, that's good. We're all good. I triple checked all my points before I ran a running session today after I changed trains out. So anyhow, how is everybody today? Hopefully not as grumpy as I am. Probably sounds in my voice. Oh, that stupid Microsoft. Your accounts need fixing, and then when you sign in, your accounts are fine. Okay, well, as long as y'all can hear me, you can hear me, right? How am I doing today? Well, I'm grumpy if it doesn't sound in my voice. I have been whining the last couple of days. I've had so many things I've wanted to do, but they're coming in the mail and they keep getting delayed. I've ordered so much stuff from Amazon the last 3 weeks. It's like, my wife's like, well, why don't you just buy it? Okay, sure, I'll buy it. Why don't you get that? Okay, I'll buy it. I keep buying stuff, and Amazon keeps losing it. Amazon free 2-day shipping. Amazon free 1-day shipping. Your item has been delayed. Now I know the world is crazy right now and I shouldn't complain, but it's been everything. And then yesterday I wanted to go online live just to talk to people because I was kind of crabby and my wife had heard enough of me whining. And, she's trying to be sympathetic, but she's like, honey, I've got some work I got to get done. You need to go complain to other people now. Every time I tried to go on, somebody else was on live stream. All of us go unannounced. I cannot complain. And right now I know that the Model Railway YouTube community group is doing their Facebook Friday, but I'll probably get shot for saying it and lose about 40, 50 subs, but at this point, I didn't care. I wanted to go online and just chat with some trained people. Well, Train Freak, in my world right now, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday are all the same. My days are only different by what health events I have scheduled. Monday is evening walks with the wife. Tuesday is tennis in the morning. Wednesday is morning walk and evening walk. Thursday is tennis in the morning and evening walk. Friday or Saturday is go kayaking on the river. All these things to keep me exercising, especially my shoulders and stuff. And that's how I know what day it is. Honey, what are we supposed to do today? Your 2-hour evening walk. My wife hates it when I do that wife voice. I was like, okay, it must be Monday or Friday. So I have ordered like 10 things in the last week and a half, 12 in the last 2 weeks, and 1 has showed up. No, I lied. 2 have shown up. And then today I wanted to while I was running trains, wanted to talk about Miniature Wonderland and show some pictures, but that was overloading my OBS. I had way too many video links plugged in. But last I knew, I was trying to show you, if you guys came in late, yes, I know you're loving the cars, but I am getting the train at the top, except the 2 cars that come with it really aren't useful to me. So I have to get car sets. And I want the green cars, so you can see there's 2, and they look blue here, but they're supposed to be green like the locomotive. I guess Rocco and Acme take bad pictures. But I'm getting the locomotive and the 2 cars on the top, but I need at least 2 green cars. So it's either the 4-car set from Rocco, which doesn't come out till later this year, or the 3-car set by Acme, which is out now, and I could get it by next Wednesday if I were to order it tonight. But the Rocco cars would cost me about $180 to get them shipped here to America. And the 3 Acme cars would cost me $220 to get them shipped to me here in America. So it's sort of like, okay, which one? Which car set? Hi, Jackie. Thanks for coming back. Oh, that's great, John. Always willing to convert somebody to the German cause. Today's the internet, tomorrow's the world. Shut up, Hermin. We're practicing world domination again. No, Heath, none of them have lighting. But that was going to be the big thing I was going to do and display this week. Is I've got 2 trains without lighting, and so I ordered a bunch of strip lighting batteries, battery adapters, and what in America we call bistable reed switches, or other people call them latching reed switches. But either way, the ones that operate with a magnet. And rather than pay, about $30 a car to light them, I was going to pay $30 to light 8 and see how that worked. But none of it came in. None of it. The extra watch batteries, the extra adapters. The only thing I got was my wire. Man, I miss Radio Shack. Back in the day, I could walk into Radio Shack and buy all this stuff. Now it's order from Amazon and pray. But, I'm leaving you on this. You'd probably rather see trains running, so let's get that going. But yeah, my goal was I wanted to show some stuff from Miniature Wonderland, and I have hundreds of pictures and was going to run them through, but OBS said I had too much stuff on this. A lot of red trains today. A lot of red today. Got the dark red of the Regiobahn. Got the red locomotive on the freight train. I've got the red diesel running. I probably should have put the blue diesel on just to break up all that red. I don't know, maybe it's just prophetic. I'm seeing red. But yeah, I ordered another webcam because I wanted to put it up behind me. If anybody, you guys all know the layout map by now. I think everybody does. I wanted to put it up behind me and catch the whole table. I had talked about that, and then somebody said, that would be cool if you did that on my last live. So I said, what the heck, I'll do it. And I ordered it, and a week and a half later, it still hasn't been found. Lost somewhere in my city. But it would go up on the little soffit behind me, and it's got a wide-angle lens. It would show the whole table. You'd see it from a distance, but it might be a cool shot to have. But there that is. Let's go to scene 2 again. Give you the all view. Now the village view's looking good. Got the train going into the station there. But the 11 lane, as always, real busy. Up the ramps got the Regiobahn, the slow passenger. Hey, Lee and Jackie again, how are you? Lee, on your stream, you press the like button with a hammer. On this stream, we gently click the cursor over the positive reinforcement icon. You can hit it with a hammer. Here, we gently click the cursor over the positive reinforcement icon. I dare one of you, since you're all mods, you've all been knighted. You are knights of the rhomboid table. But yeah, I have been lucky. I have been able to go to Miniature Wonderland 5 times. The first time was 2004. That was like 3 years after they opened. And then again the next year, 2005, and they were just starting to build some expansions. And they're in this old 18th century brick warehouse. There's this huge section of the city of Hamburg called the Speicherstadt, which means warehouse. Speicherstadt. I'd spell it out for you, but you guys wouldn't care anyhow. Which means warehouse. A Speicher is a warehouse, a granary. And originally they were 2 floors. Now they're 4 floors of that building, and they've expanded so much that they have bought the building across a canal from them, and just last week they put the bridge in between the 2 buildings. And in the next section, they're building, they just finished, well, they're finishing France. And then they're doing the bridge, and then the first thing they're doing inside the new building, the next warehouse over, is they're doing South America, and then gradually they're going to do England and Australia and some Asia, some Asian, Chinese and Japanese. These guys have things planned 20 years in advance. Pretty cocky, considering they didn't know if Miniature Wonderland was going to take off when they built it. But it's an amazing place. So it's this old warehouse, gigantic brick warehouse from the 1800s. Each floor is a 3 floors are the displays. Although one of the floors also has a luncheon area. And then the bottom floor is access, tickets, and a shop. So let's say 2 2/3 of the floors are the display. And hey, Sparky, thanks for stopping in. Hey, Mark, welcome back with my failed attempt at 2 other live streams. So, but basically each floor is an American football field, not a Canadian football field, not a football pitch as the rest of the world would refer to a soccer field. And you know, originally they highlighted the trains. You know, they had beautiful scenery from that time period. You know, static grass was not a huge popular thing just 15, 16 years ago. But just beautiful scenery, but they kept expanding and expanding and expanding. And now the place is more about the scenery than even the trains. You still have hundreds of trains running at any one time, but it's an amazing place, and it's something, if you ever get a chance, whether you're into trains or not, to go there. One of the coolest things I wanted to show you was their Mount Vesuvius, but you can Google it or YouTube it. Their Mount Vesuvius eruption is amazing from their Italy section. They've got the famous airport, Canufigan Airport. Simon is here. Hey, Simon. I did not see you come in. How late am I? 2 minutes, so I don't feel too bad. I feel bad, just not too bad. But yeah, I had hundreds of pictures loaded up and wanted to share with you guys just to go ahead. I do have an hour-long video that is not a professionally done video. It's on my front page. It's my welcoming video to subscribers. It's an hour, and it was filmed by me and my wife, and we're not professionals. We're walking through a crowd. We're not going in with special permission, but we've got all this stuff loaded in, and you can get an idea. It is a place that you can spend 8 hours there and not see everything. There are hundreds of trains, but like they built Venice as part of their Italy section. They've got this gorgeous Venice and the Vatican City, and there are no trains in Venice, and there are no trains in Vatican City, but they just built those sections as part of Italy. So they, while trains is still the first love there, they have sections that have little to do with or nothing to do with trains anymore. It's the scenery and the cityscapes. They're doing Monaco, Monte Carlo, and they're going to have the F1 cars racing. They're going to have the Grand Prix of Monaco. Is that F1? Somebody would have to straighten me out. Yes, Andrew. I have video of the Millennium Falcon landing. I had it. I was going to show today. Again, for those of you who haven't heard it for the 20th time already, I had a great little set of videos all loaded up, and my YouTube and my OBS were fighting, complaining that I just had too much stuff. It was trying to encode and throw up on YouTube. So YouTube and OBS were arguing a bit. I can go in and change the settings to allow more stuff to be encoded, but yeah, maybe I was overloading too much. Boring race, Chris. I don't know. Chris, my dad drove the raced in the 50s on the lower level circuits of what became the NASCAR circuit. My dad wasn't NASCAR or anything like that, but my dad was a car and motorcycle racer. That was the only thing. My dad loved three things: cars, motorcycles, and redheads. My dad loved three things: cars, motorcycles, and redheads. And in the 1950s, my dad fought in Korea. And then he worked on cars and raced cars and worked as an electrician to pay for things. And he's 26, 27 years old. And I'm sure my grandma was nagging him, when are you going to settle down and get married? Because, you know, a guy 26, hey, you're supposed to be married and starting a family now. My dad waited until he was 30. 29, actually. He was 29 when he got married. But he was 10 years older than my mom. And my mom was a redhead, of course. But I remember my dad, who was best friends with my mom's brothers, I remember one of the brothers saying to my dad was Howard, my dad would say, Howard used to always say, change a girlfriend every 6 months, just like you change the oil of your car. Apparently that was my dad. But my dad raced cars even after he had his first three girls. But when he had a son, me, that's when he decided to stop racing cars. But my dad would, in some of his angers, bemoan the fact that he got talked into getting married and having kids when all he wanted to do was race cars. Well, thanks, Dad. Merry Christmas to you, too. Girlfriend on phone, be right back. Maybe she was listening in and heard that talk about being of an age and time to get married, Heath. Yeah, let's try to get some different views here. Yeah, We got the Railjet coming through the village view right now. Everybody say hi to the Railjet. Yeah, nobody's really on the long run right now. Here comes that little Regio Bon. I still need a car for that. It's one car short of being the P word. There's that IC3 flying around again. And a nice frontal view of the Czech. Sometimes I should mess with people when they point things out. Hey, you got a light blinking. No, I don't. There's no light blinking here. Sorry, just... Well, if I had a boat, I could boat across Lake Erie and get into Canada, and then, well, I couldn't rent a car because I'd have an American ID and they would be, how'd you get in? Back to Village View, we got a couple of guys coming through there, the same two guys as usual, but what the heck. And really I should call this view down the ramp, because I tend to have more cars going down the ramp than... Yeah, no, we'll have at least one coming up the ramp here. That Railjet coming through just fine. And now, for a split second, nope, showed up. Okay, we've still got one train in the picture. But, yeah, the last two times I was in Miniature Wonderland. Now, the first two times we've got pictures, but I've never scanned those and made digital files of them. But, the last time... were 2017 and 2019. And in 2017 they had done Italy, but they hadn't opened up Venice. They had the rest of Italy open, but they didn't have Venice done. In 2019 they had Venice done, and they were starting work on France, the French part of Provence. They still got to build Paris and other areas. I should say the Provence of France, the Provence part of France, and Monte Carlo, Monaco, the French Alps. They had some of that done. I'm going to go to scene 2 here for a second. I'm just going to briefly do this. I wonder if this is coming up on your screen. No, where is it? Where is it? This is probably blocking your view. I don't know. Oh well. I thought I had it saved somewhere, but not as a... Oh well. Cancel. I don't know what I did with it now. Okay. But yeah, in 2017 I met one of the two brothers who started and owned Miniature Wonderland, Miniatur Wunderland, as you say in German, Miniatur Wunderland, and talked to him for about 15 minutes. And it was really amazing. And if you don't know about the Brown brothers, Garrett is the one we met, and then Frederick. Frederick is the one who came up with the idea, but Garrett is kind of well, they're both extremely intelligent people. They're both computer design and programming. That's where they made their bases. And then they made a lot of money designing software. They bought a nightclub, and then they made a lot of money with their nightclub. They opened a second nightclub, and then they decided to use all their profits from that to open Miniature Wonderland. If you didn't know that, that's the story. That's the story in a nutshell. They basically hacked their nightclubs to the banks to open this train with no thought that it, or with no belief that it would be as successful as it is. Yeah, that's right. Sparky's doing that backyard barbecue. Not that you really know me, but my wife and I could have used an escape to that part of Ontario, Canada. But unfortunately, they're not going to let us across the border. But anyhow, the Miniature Wonderland, the details and the number of people there, the work they have to do, and maybe you've seen the videos that they put up from their website, miniaturewonderland.com. Actually, it's MiWuLa, M-I-W-U-L-A, M-I-W-U, MiWuLa, or in German, MiWuLa. Just asking, I think Richard Brown, you have said, I think you said you were there once. Anybody else here ever been to Miniature Wonderland? If you hear ringing, that's just a phone in the distance. Now, this summer, we were not going to go to Miniature Wonderland this summer in our trip to Germany, but we were going to go to Hans-Peter Porsche's DreamWorks, it's called in English, but in German it's Traumwerk, where he's got his big fancy modern model layout, which is all Märklin trains, and it was built by Josef Brandl and a couple other companies. There is an American one in Pennsylvania. It's called Northlander. I want to make sure I get that right. Somebody can correct me if I got it wrong. Northlander. There was a time where Northlander was the largest model railroad in the world. But Miniature Wonderland has since passed them by far. But now Northlander will claim they're the largest privately owned model railroad. It's in Pennsylvania, I believe. Somebody can check me on that. Hi, Aberystwyth. How you doing? Since you still refuse to go. I don't, Andrew Turnage, I don't know about rail fanning. I know that when you're in the Hamburg station, they've got 18, 19 different tracks there. So double-sided, there's like 30 platforms. And, well, flip that. There's 30 tracks, about 18 platforms. And you will see trains from 10, 15 different countries at any given time there. European expresses from Russia, European expresses from Poland, Hungarian, Czech, Croatian, various long distance travel trains. So if you just want to look at trains, not necessarily see them in motion, but looking just at the wide variety of European trains, Hamburg station's really cool. Munich is probably the biggest station. Well, Berlin's the biggest building. Berlin's new all-glass one, which opened in 2005, which I've seen that one a couple of dozen times at least. All my trips in Germany and going into Berlin and out of Berlin, back and forth, 2-3 times a day. I'd be in the main Berlin train station. But even Munich, you might see some Czech trains, you might see some Austrian rail jets, but it's mostly the German federal trains and the private companies that handle regional traffic in that area. But Hamburg is a lot of international trains. Berlin gets some, but not as many as Hamburg. Go figure that one out. Frankfurt is a big train station, but I don't know. To me, Frankfurt's train station is probably the ugliest German train station on the inside. On the outside, it's a beautiful old building. On the inside, it's like a bad neighborhood. Yeah, there's actually, Leslie, there's actually 5 levels to it. 3 levels are just, well, access to different types of trains, but also shopping and food areas. But there's a underground area for the subway, and then the upper area, the 5th level, is the regional streetcars, the S-Bahns as they're called, Straßenbahn, street trains. And then the middle 3 levels are all the, like, 1 level's for the ICEs and the high-speed trains. The other 2 levels are the regional trains, and the they also have the symbol S, and they're also called S-Bahns. But the subway trains, as opposed to, well, I already said subway, but it's different. There's 5 levels: the underground, the subway, the streetcars, and then 2 levels of regional traffic. It's amazing. Everything you'd ever want in Berlin, except to see Berlin, is in that main train station. You've got grocery stores, gift shops. You could live in that station and never go anywhere. Tom Cruise movie, or not Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks movie. Now, and I know it sounds silly, but for anybody who's never had the chance to travel, I apologize if I talk about my cool trips to Germany. It's, I don't like to make anybody feel uncomfortable. You know, I've been to more places in Germany than I've been in America. And I didn't start traveling till I was 39. Is the first time I went to Germany. So I hope my talking about Germany doesn't offend anybody. And we're gonna, like I said, we're going to England in 2022. And that may be my last trip abroad, or at least consistent trip abroad. Maybe every 2-3 years after that, because I'm retiring from work and I'll be taking a big pay cut and won't be able to save up like I do. Now, the hard part would be to pick my favorite station in Germany. I don't know if I have one that I think is the coolest. Hamburg is great for trains, but Hamburg's a very industrial inside station. The outside, again, is a gorgeous old 1890s neo-Gothic building. Yeah, we got some guys swung through here. But yeah, the Dresden train station is kind of boring. It does have some shops and stuff in it. It's cute enough, but the outside facade is nice. But it does have a couple of heritage line parking areas, so you'll see 10 or 15 of these old locos from the late 1800s through the post World War II era are always parked there. It's almost like a museum, but these locos do run, so they change them. So that's cool. Munich is probably, I don't know, Munich is just the wildest for me. Munich's train station. It's big, it's got a gigantic shopping mall. Not that I'm a big shopper, but you can get lost in it. But then you just have row after row after row of train crossing your vision there. Same as Hamburg, just a little nicer. Otherwise, I like the little stations we just get stuck at in the middle of nowhere. Maybe my Delmenhorst station. Nunnington for freight and York for the museum. I would probably be interested in the British Rail Museum. Is that right? Is that right? The British Rail Museum, the National Rail Museum, something like that. But my experience with trains will be more riding. I'm not a huge train spotter. My love of trains is riding trains. So we want to meet some people. We want to meet as many as we can. And we're just going to, I assume we're going to fly into London, although we could probably pick somewhere else. But we'll spend 2 or 3 days in London at most, and then we're hitting the road. And we never rent a car. We ride trains everywhere. Or if we're, like when we're in Germany, we sometimes stay with friends, and then they drive us places. But otherwise, we ride trains everywhere. What is Jackie saying that I missed? I got to read more of this. Sparky, going back about 3 minutes to what you said, I'll catch that. Originally, my wife and I were going to go in 2021, but our trip to Germany got canceled this summer. We all know why. And our flight tickets, because of this, are held for 1 year. So unless we want to lose the money we paid on those flight tickets, we have to take them to Germany. So we're pushing back our trip to England till May of 22 or June of 2022. Because we fly Air Canada. We save hundreds of dollars driving, because we live close to Detroit. We drive our daughter actually drives us to Detroit, over the border. We go to Windsor Airport. So it's a it comes out to like 75-mile car ride for us. $49.50 up to the bridge, and then another $25 to $35 to get to the airport, the Windsor Airport. And it's hundreds of dollars less than flying out of Detroit. So yeah, I would love to do that. Unfortunately, Germany is where we're going in 2021. But since a lot of our reservations got canceled except the plane tickets, it was either we paid $2,200 for my wife and I for plane tickets to Germany. If we'd flown out of the United States, it would have been $3,600 for the two of us, not each, for the two of us. And so we paid $2,200. If we wanted a refund because our trip was canceled and the border was closed and everything else, they would have only given us $1,500 back out of our $2,200. Air Canada was only going to give us $1,500 back. Or they can hold the ticket for up to 24 months and we get all our money back, or we get that money and the tickets for up to 24 months. Well, we're going to use them next year because that's our plane ticket money. So let's see. I was looking up what somebody else said. Andrew asked me a question because I am not reading the darn things. I really need to learn to read this. This is why my son needs to put that extra thing out here. Germany loves train enthusiasts. One silly story. Now, this was on a platform, but we were at Munich, and it's the first time I've seen a railjet. This is the first time I've seen a railjet up close and personal. These Austrian railjets, like this gorgeous guy coming around right now. There he is, that gorgeous guy right there. First time I've seen one in person. I actually already bought the model, but I hadn't seen one in person. I'd seen videos of them. But we're in Munich, and I go walking way down to the end of the platform, and this was 2017. And there's a guy cleaning the train in the window as they're getting ready to take off again. They're doing whatever maintenance they do before they take off again. And the driver, or Germans call them pilots. You guys do that in the UK, call them pilots. In Germany and Austria, they call them pilots of the railjets and the ICEs. Anyhow, the two maintenance guys and the pilot and a couple other people are staring at me as my wife is trudging along behind me. And all of a sudden I pull out my camera because they're about to say, hey, what are you doing? And they see the camera and they immediately looked, laughed, smiled, waved their hands, and then went back to what they were doing. So as far as I know, Germany treats, as long as you're not stupid and standing on the tracks, they're fine with train spotting. I have seen in the UK there's no-go areas. Wow, you have to go to Detroit Airport? That's weird. Because, oh my God, it is so much cheaper to fly Air Canada. So much cheaper. And for us, it just adds about 25 minutes to the drive. It's an hour from our house to the bridge, the Ambassador Bridge, that crosses from Detroit into Windsor. And then it's another 20 minutes or whatever down to the Windsor Airport, and we save so much money. Now the only new thing is next year, as Americans, we have to get this special thing on our driver's license and a new form. This new form, Canadian government and American government want us all to sign by 2021. So we'll take care of that paperwork in the spring when we get closer to the trip. Oh, Buffalo, not Detroit. Okay. St. Pancras is a beautiful terminal. Yeah, Leslie, that's a weird thing with Lufthansa. When one of my students lost luggage, Lufthansa bent over backwards, took care of him, gave him 50 euros right away, said, here, go buy shampoo, toothpaste, and everything, gave him a free care bag and stuff like that. We had one trip where one kid lost a bag, and then we had one trip where about half my students had a bag missing, including us. Well, my one daughter. Like half my kids, I took 16 kids, and 8 of them had a bag missing. And they all came in the next day. And they drove them to everybody's houses. My daughter's took 3 days. I don't know why. Hers took 3 days. But all my students' bags came back in the next day, and they had them at their doorsteps. I am so missing. What is a railjet? Sparky, a railjet is... Where's he coming? Let's do the station view. Quick. Oh, I'm in the station view. The railjet is the guy coming up on the screen right now on the left-hand side. It is the Austrian high-speed train. That's their fast flyer. We'll catch them on the 11-lane view here. That is the Austrian, and they're gorgeous inside. There is not a train anywhere that I have seen video of. Maybe a couple of those super luxury Japanese trains, but even some of those great heritage trains, the Canadian Pacific Rocky trains, and their beautiful cars. The railjets are just, even the economy class is first class seating, and it's not expensive for a high-speed train. So now the railjets are made by Siemens Taurus locomotives, and let's just go to the all view again. And I actually have two railjets. I have the Austrian railjet, but some of the Austrian railjets were sold to the Czech Republic, and he's going around on the 11-lane view right now. That blue guy, that is also a railjet, but that's a Czech railjet. But they just repainted them, which is also still a cool livery. He'll come around again in about 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, But that blue guy, that's a railjet as well. But that's the Czech. That's one of two Czech high-speed trains. The Czechs also have Pendolinos as high-speed. All right, so anyhow. Knock on wood, Leslie, my wife and I have never had a baggage issue. Like I said, our daughter lost a bag once, and we had 1 year when we were taking our students to Germany. We had 1 year where the kids lost, about 8 students, including our daughter, had bags get lost, and that's because one of my students' bags, and they were all in this cart together, security wasn't sure about for some reason, so they yanked that cart off, and that was 8 of my students' bags and about 20 other people's bags. Oops. Oops, oops. Now, what they thought was wrong with my students' bags, because that same year, and he got through everything with it, I had a student who had bought a steel helmet, a short sword, and a crossbow. And he had them all in his stowaway luggage, his storage luggage. No problem. But one of my other students' bag was suspicious and got held. Hello, Ali. Thanks for joining in. I was going to do a little bit about Miniature Wonderland, but unfortunately, my OBS was not liking how much video and picture file I was throwing on it with all the other things I've already got saved. It was not enjoying it, so. But yeah, Miniature Wonderland is a mecca. If you're into model trains, you've got to go to Miniature Wonderland. If you're not into model trains, it's still an amazing place to go. Got that slow freight train moving on. There's that railjet. There's the ICE3. Almost always featured. Going through the station now. And we got a few guys coming through here. But yeah, we don't use that P word here. Nothing on my layout, except for the train consist. Nothing is prototype. We don't use that P word. The big news today, but I haven't ordered it yet, is today was a payday for my wife and for me. And my wife already paid all the bills. It says, okay, you know that 3D printer you've wanted to get? I think we can swing it. So looks like I'll be ordering a 3D printer. And that way I can get back to building. It won't be scratch built anymore, unfortunately. No more scratch building for me. The nerves have deteriorated too far. I just can't scratch build anymore. What's better than anything we have running in the UK? Oh, right, one of the Shingensen or whatever they're called. Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, just even though all of you have been into model trains a lot longer than me, I assume, only in Japan can you call it the bullet train. The ones in China, the German high-speed trains, the ones in the UK anywhere are not supposed to be called bullet trains. I made that mistake. I called the ICEs the German bullet trains, and people said the only bullet trains are in Japan. Those are the only ones you can call bullet trains. Okay. Just like I try to always educate you on, you don't call them ice trains, they're ICEs. Or in this case, you got two rail jets going through. I love them rail jets. Gorgeous inside and out. But ICE 3s are nothing to sneeze at. My wife and I have ridden on so many ICE 3s over the years. My students love them. The best thing about traveling out of the United States is American kids just are really not exposed to trains. They're not exposed to traveling by train except in certain parts of the country like Philadelphia, Washington. And we do have Amtrak. But like here in Toledo, the Amtrak train runs 2 or 4 times a day. It's always 2 to 5 hours late. So I couldn't go passenger train rail fanning if I wanted to, because the train might supposed to be in at 9:59. It might show up at 10:59 or 11:59 or 3 in the afternoon. You don't know when it's going to come in. American kids just in general are not exposed to the train system. Most kids that are into trains, it's because somebody in the family was into trains. Works for the rail company or had the layout and got that into it. I mean, I couldn't brainwash my kids into it. But the cool thing, because I sidetracked myself with that, is because American kids aren't so exposed to it. When I took my kids to Germany, students, I call them my kids. And we travel everywhere by train. We don't rent buses or cars. We buy group tickets and we travel everywhere by train. My students loved it. My students loved it. And 150 students later, every one of them, why don't we have this in America? Why don't we have this in America? This would be so cool if we had this in America. And they love it. And I've had probably 2/3 of the students I've taken to Germany, well, maybe half, have gone into the military and been stationed in Germany. And I can't tell you how many emails and Facebook and Yahoo messages I've gotten over the years from former students of mine telling me that they were made platoon leader or something else because A, they knew some German, and B, they understood the bus system, the train system from having been there. It's like, hey, you know your way around, you're in charge. And those were great stories to hear. Yeah, and my wife and I do want to take a train trip across America. We want to get on Amtrak and then go out west and do the Union Pacific, or what's the the one that goes through the Rockies and such. We really want to do that. There's the, what is it, Canadian Pacific. Somebody like John Dawson or Sparky would have to clarify it. Those beautiful glass-topped cars that they have when they go out to the Rockies. I call them glacier cars because they originated in France and Switzerland, going through the Alps, the panoramic window tops, panoramic cars. Dad was a Simon, and Granddad was a Simon, Dad was a spotter. And yeah, it definitely comes that way. I got into trains simply by traveling by train in Germany. That's why I'm into this, and that's why I'm Era 6 German trains, because that's what I got into. Steam locomotives are beautiful. they're, it's like looking at a beautiful model on the TV. Yeah, she's beautiful, but I'm not going to bed with her, if you understand what I'm saying. There's what I like and what I have. That's what I'm into. So steam locomotives are gorgeous. I love them. I love seeing them on other people's layouts, but I'm not into them where I would, and I've ridden on a steam locomotive, a passenger car following a steam locomotive, but it's not my interest. So I hope that doesn't offend anybody. The Rocky Mountain Railway. Thank you, John. Train Freak, the Great Northern. But I think that's part of the problem. I did an early video a year and a half ago when I first started doing videos on my channel. And let's change scenes again. I love that background scene with the ICE cutting through in front of all those peeling off the wall pictures. It was a video I was doing talking about what I had learned about the state of the hobby, because everybody talks about, especially in the United States, it's a dying hobby. And I mean, my city, Toledo, can tell you that. When I was a teenager in the 70s, we had 11 model train shops. I'm not talking hobby shops. We had those too. I'm talking 11 model train shops. Now we have 0. Air conditioning kicking on. And people talk about it as a dying hobby. And so I started doing some research before I did that video. And there was an article from Time magazine a couple of years ago, and it said the average age of a model train hobbyist, and that is somebody who has either a layout or runs trains with a club, they specific. So somebody who considered themselves a model train hobbyist, they said the average age was 54 years old. That sounded a bit old to me, and at the time I read that, I was 54. In Germany, it's 45 to 46. Now, I could not find a quote for the UK, but I assume it's also. There's a 10-year average age difference between the United States and countries like the UK and Germany. And I blame that completely on the fact that in the UK and Germany, kids ride trains. Kids go to school on trains. Kids go on field trips on trains. And the vast majority of American kids, the only time they encompass a train is when they're in a car and they're stopped by a train at a crossing, and nobody likes that. I'm running late in the stupid train, American kids just across the country are not exposed. Yes, we have trains. Yes, we have a very active passenger train service between Philadelphia, D.C., New York, and their surrounding areas, even up to Boston, I think. But still, America has a love affair with its cars. We built the superhighway, and that was the superhighways, and that was the real end of passenger trains in America, or at least as a true commuter function. Now, Kieran, the hobby does need, quote, younger blood. That's why I put a train set in my classroom, not only to educate my students about the German train system, but also to get them interested in and my students love it. But at the same time, it is an expensive hobby the minute you really want to start building layouts. Now, I can go to Walmart and buy an HO scale train kit for $49, which would be about, 35 pounds? 38 pounds right now, the exchange rate. And, no, not that, probably 40 pounds. Be that as it may. And so a kid can get trains and get into it, and kids occasionally get them, but even that traditional gift, that was my first train. I was 6, 7 years old in Christmas of I was 7, Christmas of 1970. My dad bought me a model train, and I thought it was the boringest thing on the planet Earth. At least with slot cars, you could race them. You know, with trains, you had one train, one loop, and it went in circles, or you could make it go backwards. Okay, maybe I just lacked imagination at that age. I don't know. But American kids just don't have that exposure to make you want to recreate it. Once I got exposed to it, man, it's like heroin. I love my model trains, and I'm more about the trains than even the scenery. Okay, what have I talked over or missed? Heath, you don't have a car. Well, you do live in New York, and that's standard. But that's like a lot of people I know in Germany don't have cars. We have lots of cars in my family. I currently still own 2 of these cars. The other 2 I have long since had to sell off. 2 of my old babies. But you came in for trains. Oh, and that's the thing. It's such a change of mentality. I wouldn't think of going anywhere without taking the car here in America. If I'm going up to the grocery store, I'm taking the car. Technically, my wife and I could walk up. It takes about 15, 20 minutes to walk to the grocery store. And my wife will do it. She'll say, I just need a couple things. I'm going to walk up to the grocery store. But I'm like, if we're doing grocery shopping, I ain't carrying those bags a mile back home. We're taking the car. In Germany, it's the exact opposite. You walk how many blocks? You go to the grocery store, the meat market, the market square, or you know, the butcher shop, the baker, whatever, and buy your fresh stuff, and you walk home. And it's amazing how quickly my wife and I mindsets immediately switch to that. We go from I ain't walking in the United States, and since we're in Germany, we're walking. My wife has one of those Fitbits. She wants me to get one. I don't need to be told how many steps I didn't walk. But she's like, hey, 25,000 steps today, woo! And I'm like, great. I took 10 from the bed to the bathroom. The one on the upper left, oh, you're talking cars. I'll go back to those. Yes, that is Generation 4 of the Dodge Charger, known as the E-Frame. The E-Frame 2. That's a 73 Dodge Charger. That's a little after the classic era of Dodge Chargers that, like you see in movies like Fast and Furious. Those are 68 to 70s. Those are the A-frames. And there's one generation before them, which was E-frame Generation 1. But yeah, that is a 73 Dodge Charger SE, which I sold about 6-7 years ago. I don't have it anymore. I miss it every day. See, I sold it in 2014, so 6 years ago. And then I have, on the right was my Dodge Stealth, which was basically a Viper but made cheap. It's on the same frame as a Viper, same exterior body as a Viper, but the cheaper version's not an expensive car. This was, and they tried to make it a 4-seater instead of a 2-seater. But this was the Dodge Stealth, and I'm trying to think, the Nissan, not the Nissan, the Mitsubishi is the same car. But they made these for about 5 years, but only the first year did they make any in the United States, and this is one of the rare American versions, with the American engine built in America. And then the one on the bottom left is a 2012 Dodge Dart, which my son now drives. I owned it and then gave it to him. And then our 2014 Charger on the bottom right. But those are cars. You don't care about cars, especially American gas guzzling cars. But it's in my name. It's Dodge. You know, it's what it is. All right, let's go back to multi-scene. Everybody's kind of scattered. See, if you're watching this on a phone, if you're watching this multi-screen on a phone, I can't imagine it's fun to watch. Because all the pictures are small. That's why I try to go to the bigger pictures. You know, try to catch them like this. Hi, Kyle. Third track from the wall. It probably does have a little bit of a lean. That's the car. In a couple of that track, I did try to super elevate too, but there's definitely on my probably my Regio Bond, my red Regio Bond, when he comes through here, I've got a messed up wagon there. He stays. He doesn't derail. He doesn't derail, but he's not straight. He was damaged when builders tore apart my basement a couple of years ago. And then I had to remodel my basement. That's why I had to remodel my basement. We had flooding in the basement. And they had to dig up the entire basement floor, and I had nowhere to go with my... They literally came on Monday and said, we'll start work tomorrow. And they gave me a day, and I tried to box up what I could. And I had to work at 6 o'clock the next morning. And I worked that day. And we tried to get everything picked up and boxed. And still, a couple of things they dropped rocks on. And yeah, I wasn't happy about it. But they run, and I'm happy. One year we were in Hamburg. They were having a, Leslie, they were having a North American muscle car collectors group. I didn't get to go see it, but I did see a bunch of Dodge Chargers driving around the roads. The Germans and the Dutch love Dodge Chargers. Here, I'm going to pop this up here. Let's see. Acer view. This is, if I can hold it in the camera. This is a HO scale prototype 68 Dodge Charger, but really there isn't much difference between a 68, a 69, a 70. Just the tail light array and the front grille change a little bit, but otherwise same body, same frame, same top. But that is a HO scale Dodge Charger. See, Dodge Charger, Dodge, Anthony Dodge. See, connection. And he will be conveniently placed on my layout, even though it's in Germany. There will be a Dodge Charger in Delmenhorst. Oh God, you're watching me. At least I didn't pick my nose. The odd thing is, it may look like a warp, but there's also the track here, that third one, that actually is straight. Believe it or not, it's straight, but it looks like it bends because of the way the camera works. That's actually a straight line. We measure it all the time because the first time I did this particular camera from this angle, I go, wait a minute, that's supposed to be straight. And it looks, but in the picture, it looks warped. But yeah, there's definitely the one car has a lean because it got abused. That's why I want to replace those Regio Bonds, but I can't find anybody that has them, at least lit up. It's also one of my few trains that actually has passengers on it. If it comes around in the 11-lane view, we'll try to catch him. Let's do village view. He should be coming through the train station and the village. Oh, but the railjet's going to maybe cut him off. I don't know from this angle if you'll be able to see it or not, especially with the railjet cutting them off. Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't know. Camera focusing isn't the best, but yeah, there's people on that one. My IC3 has people on it. My Regiobahn has people on it. This little red guy here. And my Austrian railjet has some people on it, but needs a lot more. But my other 2 double-decker trains have no people on them. My Czech railjet has no people on it. My 2 diesel Lint class trains have no people on them. There's just so many things I could do, but sometimes I have a little train or layout budget, and then if I'm saving up for a train, the budget goes there. And I spent a lot of it on this Fowler car system that sadly well, that's some of the pieces I'm waiting for. I'm just going to wire it up as a on and off switch instead of automated and get that going. Well, there's people in America with cars from the UK, so I guess it's a trade. See, I come from a car family, Paul, and others. So, like I said, my dad raced cars. But my dad did something that my grandfather, my dad's dad, was always angered about. Now, I realize all of you are, well, most of you are not Americans. But this is a different world. But in my family, growing up, there were 2 things you did not drive. When your last name was Dodge, there were 2 things you did not drive. You did not drive foreign cars. German, British, Japanese. You did not drive foreign. And secondly, you did not drive Ford. Dodges hate Fords. And my dad raced Fords. And I'm sure he did it to anger his dad. My dad was a rebel against my grandpa, and then I was a rebel against my dad. My dad never drove a Dodge car until he was in his late 50s. And that's because I always drove Dodge and finally guilted him into it. And everybody in my family drives Dodges. My kids all drive Dodges. And they're proud of their name. I mean, and yeah, we are related if you didn't know that. Just not rich. Thanks to old great-grandpa Dodge, who got into a fight with his cousins who started the car company. He quit. They got rich. We got poor. Yeah, we don't talk about great-grandpa very well. What about GM Chevy? Okay, now, for all of you who don't know your car companies, yeah, Chrysler owns Dodge. So again, it was just at that time, my family preferred that you drive a Dodge, but if not, you could have driven a Plymouth, a Buick, a Chevy, an Oldsmobile, any of the other American car companies, just not Ford. And then you better not show up to a family reunion or a family party in a Toyota, a Datsun, well, Nissan is what was once called Datsun. Honda was not even known back in that time. And no Mercedes-Benz, no Porsche. We didn't care how rich you were in the family. You drove a Chrysler Fifth Avenue or a Dodge Monaco luxury car. If you made money in the family where you could afford a luxury car, you were expected to buy an American luxury car, a Cadillac, an Olds 88. Yes, Fiat now owns Chrysler, yes. Chrysler is the little hoe. She has been passed around by many people. Mercedes, Daimler, Benz partnered with them. Fiat owns them, although they call it a partnership, Fiat Chrysler. But Fiat bought Chrysler because they were hoping to use Chrysler to get into the American market with all their crappy little cars. And Fiat is trying to sell Chrysler. But Fiat owns Chrysler, but Chrysler owns Dodge. And then Dodge owns Ram, which is the pickup truck company, which is where Dodge makes most of its money right now. The pickup trucks and the minivans, the Dodge Caravans. No, Chrysler, the Chrysler Plymouth family made the Dodge family very rich. The original sale was in the 1940s. So see, Dodge people haven't owned Dodge cars since the 1930s, early 40s. But yeah, Chrysler, there was the Chrysler family, very rich New York family, the Plymouth family, made their money in oil and then cars. And then the son from Chrysler married the daughter from Plymouth, so it became Chrysler Plymouth. Then they bought out Dodge Brothers Automobiles, Dodge cars. But it made the Dodges very, very rich. The deal, I think, was $30 million in the 1930s, okay? That's a lot of money. And to this day, there's $60 million sitting in a Colorado bank that belongs to the Dodge family. But all the heirs to the Dodge family fortune are dead. And the state of Colorado won't share it to anybody that isn't considered a direct descendant of John F. Dodge II. Yeah, I don't know too many people who wouldn't want to be born wealthy. I just would have liked to have been born wealthy, but with a working class mentality. Sounds terrible to say that, but I didn't, I mean, how poor is poor? I always had grew up poor, but we always had a roof over our head. Okay, sometimes it was a paper roof, but, and we didn't starve. Sometimes the refrigerator was a lot emptier than a hungry kid would prefer, but we weren't homeless. We didn't have doctors after a certain age, and we never saw the dentist. But, and we didn't have air conditioning. And I lived in neighborhoods where you had gangs, the old gangs, not the Bloods and Crips stuff of the last 40 years, but just the old street neighborhood gangs. And I had my share of fights and getting jumped and getting the crap kicked out of me by the neighborhood gangs because I wouldn't join or whatever. But the problem is my dad wanted me to get a real job. When I was younger, when I was in my teenage years, I was going to go into law school and become a lawyer. My wife still wishes I'd become a lawyer. Not for the money, just for other reasons. Because I like to argue. But I always wanted to be a writer. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a writer. Ever since I was a kid, I liked to write. Everybody in my family, my brothers and sisters, my mom and dad, they can all draw. They can all paint. They all have amazing visual skills. I can't draw stick figures that don't look pathetic. So I have a great appreciation for people that can draw anything. And I never criticize anybody's drawing or artwork, because by the time my kids were 4 I said, Daddy, look what I drawed. Can I put it on the refrigerator? I'm like, well, it's better than I can draw. Put it right up there, kid. I don't know if that's known anywhere else, but when little kids draw pictures, we hang them on refrigerators in America. And then my junior year of high school, I got a letter from the United States Military Academy. And it was asking me to apply. Now, you have to understand, the United States Military Academy doesn't ask you to apply. But the United States Military Academy asked me to apply, and I was eventually accepted. I flunked my first physical, passed my second. And so when I got accepted into the United States Military Academy, that was it. That's what my dad wanted me to be. My dad went from me talking about maybe joining the Army and like, hell no, no son of mine is going to join the Army, because my dad lost an eye in Korea, and he's definitely was not a pro-war person. But anyhow, I don't want to go into the politics there. But once I was a West Point cadet, my dad's like, you go to school, you got 20 years military, you come out a colonel, you got a great pension, blah, blah, blah. And that was it. That's what my dad wanted me to be. And I'm like the whole time, Dad, I want to be a writer. You aren't going to make any money as a writer, you idiot. Go to West Point. You know. And so I started my college career at West Point. And if you're in the UK, West Point is the same thing as Sandhurst. And I had scholarships to all these different colleges around the country. And I'm like, but Dad, I could go do here. No, man, your life's made for you. Easy life. Okay, Dad. But I hated it. I was immature, and I hated West Point, and I hated the senior they assigned to me in the plebe system, as they call it. I just hated it, and I left in the first quarter of school there. I just hated it. And my dad didn't talk to me for 6 months. And it's like, okay, what do you do? I'm going to get a degree in English and be a writer. What about a journalism degree? I don't want to be a journalist. I want to be a writer. Yeah. Which academy? Yeah, West Point, United States Military Academy, Army. Yep. And I fell into becoming a teacher. It's like right after I signed up to be in the College of Education, my dad, what are you going to be? I really want to be a writer, Dad. That's what I want to do. I've had some things published already. I want to be a writer. And my dad, being the supportive man he was, says, you aren't going to make any money as a writer. What are you going to do to make money? Be a teacher? And I'm like, well, Dad, now that you mention it. Oh, my father was pissed at me. He never forgave me for leaving West Point and then becoming a teacher. My dad would always look at me and say, all those brains, Mr. Big Shot in school, and you became a teacher. I remember when I was in my 20s saying to my dad, you know, Dad, I'd like to thank you for all that support through the tough times in my life. Yeah. If you don't know the United States Military Academy, it's exclusive. It's very hard to get into. You have to not only have the same academics that you need to get into Harvard, but you got to have other things as well. And as somebody mentioned here, you have to have Congress people recommend you, called commendations. And I was fortunate. I got John Glenn, yes, the famous astronaut, John Glenn and Howard Metzenbaum, two Ohio senators, and Marcy Kaptur all signed off on my application. So I was in like Flint with that. But they have what's called the plebe system, where as an incoming freshman, you're assigned to a senior, and basically you're that senior's bootlicking slave. It's supposed to teach you discipline and that. Well, I had some idiot, whose name I remember hatefully to this day. Some little sadist from Texas who thought it was really cool to just abuse people because he could get away with it. And I told him off one day and I got written up for it. I told him off again, and then one night a bunch of seniors crept into my bunk and beat the crap out of me. So I took his boots and found a lot of, I was supposed to clean his boots, and I found a lot of various animal droppings, and I put them in his boots so that the next morning his boots were all shiny on the outside, but not on the inside. And that's when Colonel Aldridge looked at me and said, "I don't think you're West Point material." And I looked at him and said, "I don't think so either, sir." I was doing fine academically. It was just, and I did fine with the basic military training. It was that third part of it that maybe I just wasn't mature, or maybe I just got stuck with a real loser. To me, this was the same guy that would do hazing at an American fraternity and keep beating the guy even when they're drunk and unconscious, you know? Yeah, well, I bored you all with that. You've all moved on to other things. But, yeah. It is 5:30. When did I start? About 3:30. So it's been about 2 hours. Actually, this says 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 45 seconds, and counting. That's right. I had 2 failed attempts before I got this one going. It's really a shame. I really had some cool stuff I wanted to show you from my trips to Miniature Wonderland. But y'all can let me know which of the 2 car sets. Roco, 4 cars and cheaper, not available for a few months. Acme, available now, 3 cars more expensive. But that's the next train. The top plus one of the 2 car sets below. Because these trains don't have a lot of cars in their consist. They're 3 or 4 carriages max. Now let's go up the ramp. We got the railjet coming up again. Always the railjet, but hey, any chance to see the railjet's always a happy thing. Hey, let's do... That's the brightest and sharpest camera, I think, the village view here. But you don't see as many trains here as you do on the other sides. But, as I always say, this is meditation. This is, I've had a lot of hobbies, wargaming and stuff, but this is the one hobby where I really can get lost in it. Even wargaming can be frustrating because you're losing a battle or, you know, but this one, outside of crashing trains, oops, outside of crashing trains, this one is, it's meditative to say the least. I just like watching the trains, and someday I'll actually have more scenery. And now that I'm going to get a 3D printer, knock on wood, or as we always say, knock on wood, I'm really excited about that because now I just got to learn CAD. I got to learn computer drawing. Because not only I've got to draw very specific buildings and have them printed up on a 3D printer. So I'm going to have to do a lot of studying. Christmas vacation. Let's do the long run. Got some guys moving. Griswold fans. I like the first Vacation movie, but just to be the outsider, after that, I just lost interest in them. I loved the first one. The second one, there's only so much Chevy Chase I can take. and I just couldn't get into the European vacation or Christmas vacation, and they've done, what, 2 others since then? I just could never, ever get into those. My apologies. Now, talk the movie Airplane. That's hilarious. See if my school has access to LinkedIn Learning. Oh, that would be amazing if they did, but I think my wife was looking that up and wasn't finding it. My school, we're a little behind the time. And we just got told yesterday that we are going to start the year. I was supposed to start teaching next week. We were going to have kids in the building on a weird arrangement. And they just announced yesterday that they're not going to start kids in school until September 8th now. I have to start on August 19th. And they're going to spend 2 weeks training us on teaching online. And within that 2 weeks, they're also going to try to get Chromebooks to all of our students. Because I teach we're not officially a poverty school, but we're heading that way. When I started teaching at this school, we were a working class, good middle class school. My kids went to the school. I live in the school's neighborhood. But they redrew school boundaries, and Toledo is a city that is dying. And our school has drifted from being solid, strong middle class with some upper middle class sections to low working class, poverty class students. And our school system is broke, like a lot of American school systems. And so we don't have the best tech. The suburb schools are like, yeah, we're already teaching online, we're good. And I know how to teach online, I know how to do it, but our students don't have the access to it. It's crazy. And of course, our kids all have smartphones and say, I can't go online and watch the Google Classroom and do this. Ugh. But I still like teaching. I still like it. I love my students, and to me, that's the fun of teaching, is taking kids that maybe don't have everything set up for them and seeing if you can set it up for them. Now you guys are... Leslie, a lot of especially modern American comedy, I'm totally there with you. I can't stand most of American comedy right now. The comedic movies, the comedic TV shows. I also, in the 80s and 90s, didn't like the classic ones. I never liked Jerry Seinfeld other than as a stand-up comedian. I didn't like the show Seinfeld. I didn't like Cheers or Frasier. But I understand, yeah, Americans do not have that brilliant taste for subtle irony. Which is why Americans don't get British comedy a lot of times. I loved Monty Python. My dad hated it. My mom didn't understand it. I loved The Young Ones. And most of my American friends did not get it, did not understand it. But I do love slapstick if it's done right. And Airplane was just brilliant. The parody, the irony, the silliness, all of that mix. And yes, some of it was childish humor, but in the right doses, that's good. But yes, the 1981 movie Airplane was hilarious. Now, if you want to hear an embarrassing fact about me, the only movies I have seen that I have paid to see in a theater in the last 15 years have been the Marvel movies, because I'm a Marvel comic geek too. I love the Marvel movies. I'm an immature geek. I'm like, where the heck was this crap when I was a kid? Father Ted is hilarious. I love Father Ted. And the guy who played Father Ted, he did another series, another show where he played a space alien superhero. You remember that one? I can't think of the name of it, but I love that one too. And they had the baby that was already a super genius. So yeah, Father Ted and the guy who played Father Ted. No, not the guy who played Father Ted. The guy who played Father Ted's assistant then went on and did the TV show where he was the superhero. A huge Trekkie. Nothing wrong with that. I love the original Star Trek series. I liked some of New Generation. After that, I lost interest. I was a huge Babylon 5. I love Babylon 5. Thought that was awesome, especially for its time. I don't get into the wars. I don't get into Star Wars is better than Star Trek. I like them both. Now, I will say that ever since Disney took over Star Wars, I think Star Wars blows Technicolor biscuits. Yes, My Hero. That's what it was. My Hero. Thank you, Andrew. My Hero. Love that show. I just couldn't think of the name of it because it's probably been 15 years since I've seen. Father Ted I can find online. My Hero, a little harder. But if you want to know the truth, here's one that'll probably make some of you UK people gag. PBS, our public government-owned station system, television system, used to show lots of British comedies. And so when I was young, I liked, back in the 70s, I liked Are You Being Served? We were always 2 years behind, but I liked at least the early years of it. When Spooner came in, it lost its charm, but I liked many years of Are You Being Served? Doesn't that make me a loser? Yes, Chris, you are my hero. You and all your crotchety, hating sound and music, you are my hero. I want to be like you when I grow up. Now, I will say, I actually liked the first, although that wasn't Disney yet, Phantom Menace. I like Phantom Menace, but the next two movies I thought absolutely sucked. And all three that Disney did with J.J. Abrams sucked. Like they should be burned and never allowed to see the light of day again. Good night, Train Freak. Are you free? I'm free. Are you free, Mr. Humphreys? I'm free. Yeah, I can't do Mr. Humphrey. Might have to pull on my shorts a bit. And 10 million cat jokes that today you could never get away with it. And that's not political correctness. It's just, gotta protect the kids. Oh, you guys have been on this for a while watching me. Let's change up again. Anything happening up the ramp? No. What about station view? Probably not. There we go. Alright, let's do village view because somebody's coming in. That's a nice view of the ICE. I just wish I could have got my platforms long enough for the ICE and the Railjet to park on them properly. Although in reality, Railjet would never park on that one. Railjets don't come to Delmenhorst. Hey, we got two guys coming up the line. You can just see the headlights. Pretend you're a train spotter. I can see the headlights in the distance. I am thinking of putting a tunnel just in here for the heck of it and some sort of hill scenic above it. I don't know, is there a 3-lane tunnel anywhere? Probably not, but hey, I'll do it. What the heck? It's my layout. I'll do what I want. Oh, Aberystwyth is leaving bedtime now. Yes, it is. You guys are. It's almost 11 o'clock for you in the UK. It's just going on dinner time here for me. Friday night dinner. Last night's dinner and I did not see eye to eye, or any other body parts for that matter. We had I had a steak sandwich, but instead of being in a usual bun or roll, it was in a pizza crust thing, and ugh, was not good. Modern headlights, anti-spotters device. And see, that's I don't know. Rail fanning, train spotting. I don't know where. Let's go to the station here. See, I'm not somebody that would go outside like a lot of you guys do, which is awesome, and take videos of trains going by. But I do like when I'm in Germany, when I'm at the station, if I have time, to walk around and look at the trains while they're standing still. I do like that. What is there a special category of that, or is that just trains, lazy train spotting? Train spotting for lazy idiots. But again, like I said, I really wanted to talk about Miniature Wonderland because I know a lot of you hadn't been there, and it's such a cool place. But I do have a video. It's on my front subscriber page if you haven't watched it. And you can skip forward it because pretty much my videos average, well, if you take away the live feeds, my videos average about half an hour, and they average about 6 minutes of viewing time. So just fast forward and look at some of the cool things. But especially look up the Mount Vesuvius eruption. That is so cool, especially when trains are running in front of it. Because someday Mount Vesuvius will erupt again. And there will be somebody on a train going, "Hey Guido, look at that. It looks like Mount Vesuvius is erupting and we are on this train and can't get off. Well, it was nice knowing you, my friend." I'm sure we'd all be very calm at that. Of course, here on this part of the continent, my wife and I are educated enough to know that someday Yellowstone is going to blow up. And we're waiting for that to end this part of the hemisphere. Extreme Trains UK style. That's okay, Karen. Like I said, it's just there if people are really interested in it. It was just something to talk about because I really just... so many things have been going goofy. You know, nothing serious. I mean, you know, I've had some of my mild health issues the last few days, but it's nothing I can't get through. It didn't stop me from playing tennis. It just stopped me from playing tennis well. And just all this stuff, all these things I've ordered keep getting lost. I broke my laptop computer. I just have all these little gremlin things happening, and I was so depressed, and I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll go talk to people on the internet. They always cheer me up. And then every time I tried to go live, somebody else beat me to going live, and I'm like, it would be rude to cut off their stream, so I guess I'll just go into their stream. Wow, and here's that bit. Going by. Nope. Again, I love that background scene in this view. I know, crazy, silly, but I do like it. All right, Heath, take care. We'll talk to you later. Maybe I'll sort out some things and still show a couple of things because I had a couple of funny things I wanted to do, but OBS was throwing a fit. I gotta make sure I say OBS and not OSB. That's what you build with. I should have a camera on the other side looking up that old station. Maybe I'll get another one. We'll see. Yeah, nobody's coming around yet. Let's go up the ramp. Here we go. We'll watch these two guys coming up again because I probably need to start logging off here. My wife has not nagged me yet to say, what are we doing for dinner tonight? And then I look at her and I say, I don't know. What are you making? And then she looks at me and I duck. Buy more cameras. Oh, everybody left, but they're all here now. Well, a couple of them are. Ah, even that little T-split I kind of like. And then the rail jet in the background again. Yeah, I decide which trains to run next. I've been running all these trains. It's amazing. Some of these trains have run more in the last 2 weeks than they have in the previous 3 years I've owned them. Is the fact that your face is cherry red a sign of extreme train spotting? Yes, or you've done something you're highly embarrassed of and aren't going to share with us. Or maybe a combination of both. You did something really embarrassing while train spotting. Something really embarrassing. Wasn't that a Paul McCartney song with the Beatles? Why don't we do it on the rails? 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 The driver will be watching us. Why don't we do it on the rails? Yes, looking into the south sun at 80, upper 80 plus degrees. Yeah, you're going to get a red face there. Although I like my version better. Not that my singing did anybody any good, but what the hell. No, see, I'm not allowed to go outside without sunscreen. If I start to walk towards the house or out of the house, my wife says, did you put on sunscreen? Yes, dear. My mom suffered from skin cancers all her life, and my sister died of skin cancer. So according to the doctors, I have a very high risk of it. But I didn't do what my sister and mom did in the sun all the time. Is my chat just that far behind? School job at Steamtown, worked at Reaganham. Yeah, I put the new firebox. Oh, that's so good. You guys have got so many good stories, and I've been yakking and not reading your stories. Oh, I sang and Chris was here. Or he was. Yep, was still here. Yeah, that was Paul McCartney singing Why Don't We Do It on the Rails from the Beatles' Beige album. Ba-dum-bum. Thank you, I'm here all week. Try the veal. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I do try to make people happy, usually. My goal is to try to bring a laugh to people, not so much as a stand-up comedian. That was a failed venture. But my students like my stories. Mr. Dodge, if we get our work done, can you finish that one story about when you were in college and this happened? Maybe, but you gotta get your work done, everybody. Beep, beep, beep. 2 hours and 1 minute. All right. I'm going to work on things that I might come on unannounced over the weekend because I still have something funny I want to mess about with, but it's getting it to work. And since the MiWuLa stuff didn't work, I don't know what else is going to work. But I deleted some of that stuff. Yep, that's the Fowler car stuff. Where'd all the trains go? See, I could put another camera in that bottom right-hand corner as you're looking at the map. The bottom right-hand. And then you could see the trains going into and parked on that platform area. And you'd still see all six of the trains over there. So maybe I could put one more camera over there. But like I said, I do want to put one up above and kind of give that overhead view since several people have said they thought that would be cool. All right, people. Not one of you commented. Not one of you found the why don't we do it on the rails funny. I'm heartbroken. You all just ignored that. I embarrassed myself with a horrible singing voice to make up a joke song about trains, and you all just ignored it. Except for Jackie. Jackie gets a gold star. Thanks. My wife is now yelling at me, what are we doing for dinner? All right, John, take care. Yeah, like I said, that conversation has yet to come up, but it's going to come up soon. Yeah, I'm going to log off here in a couple of minutes. Especially since they all ignored my attempts to lighten their day with a little bit of bad Beetle humor. It's all right, Anthony. We know you were trying. To be a true Liverpudlian, you gotta have a vicious sense of humor, we know. Yes, you should. You should listen to more Beatles. All right, everybody, I am going to shut this down, log off. Like I said, I'm disappointed. You don't know what you missed, but I know what you missed. I do appreciate 13 of you sharing, still sharing time with me. We did get up over 20 at one point. Yeah, the fifth Beetle. Yeah. Oh, I wish I were the fifth Beetle. Oh, the money and royalties I'd have now. Hello, Sir Paul. Can I get my royalties now? Can I get me royalties now? Because that's it. I'm gonna claim Paul stole my song. I wrote "Why Don't We Do It on the Rails," and then he stole it and changed it to "Why Don't We Do It in the Road." But anyhow, yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. I've had a couple people say I should just set a date or a time aside. I can't. My life is very random right now. My wife says, hey, let's go off and do this. I couldn't schedule and say I'll do Sunday 10 a.m. here, 3 p.m. UK time, BST time. So I just go when nobody else is on and I'm feeling like I can do it. So anyhow, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We're going to end this stream now. And I will see you in your streams or wherever or on your videos. You'll always catch me saying hello somehow. So take care, everybody. So until next time, happy trains. See you later.